Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong, and today we have another amazing guest. This person comes highly recommended by a lot of people out there. He's been helping people understand more about how money works, how to create wealth, how to leave that wealth and create this legacy to leave it behind for future generations. And he's been doing so well in that, creating lots of great financial education for people, coaching, engaging events, so that people are more motivated, inspired to learn more about financial literacy, which is something he's very, very good at, and he's already pumped up about that. He's also been able to reach some of the highest echelons of network marketing and digital marketing. He's the author of three books: Money Grows on Trees, Money Buys Happiness, and Becoming Time Rich. He has a podcast which is also called Money Buys Happiness, and he's also the creator and the founder of the company Money Buys Happiness. I believe you're also an award-winning podcast host, which is absolutely amazing. So please welcome coach, speaker, podcast host, and author, Mr. Lloyd Ross.
What's up, Fong? Thanks for that amazing introduction. Well done. There's a bit of a mouthful there, a few things happening. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for being here. I mean, like that intro completely matches with your background of all those certificates before. So,
Yeah.
but there's no flubs there. So it's absolutely 100% true. And I'm very, very excited to have you here. And
Yeah.
before we got started, we actually found out that we probably crossed paths here and there over the last few years here, and we've
Yeah.
never actually met face to face, which is kind of neat. So happy to have you
Yeah.
here. But before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff, you're
Yeah.
somebody who's out there teaching people about financial literacy, helping people build up their network marketing companies and their entrepreneurship and all that kind of stuff. But where
Yeah.
did you start off? Because I can't imagine that you came out of school and go, you know what, I'm going to be this amazing person speaking all over the
Yeah.
world, building these companies.
Uh,
So how did you start, and how did you get to where you are today?
yeah. Great question. God, it seems so far back because when I left school and at 17, the internet really wasn't as big as what it is now. Like Facebook didn't exist. Amazon was just starting really then. And so we didn't have all the amazing opportunities we do now with starting businesses and building extra income streams and stuff. So I went to university. So what you did back then, as you go to university to get a degree, to get a job, to then, build your career. So I went and got a few degrees. I became a lawyer and got out of that very quickly, went over to Dubai where I was actually working on the Formula One Grand Prix circuit as a development manager for the real estate projects there. I was about 23. And it was where I started earning, some pretty good money. In Dubai, it was tax free, which is great. Uh, and I was beginning my journey of saving money and investing and, just figuring my way out through the financial world. And I actually ended up repatriating back to Australia because the GFC completely, destroyed the markets back then and came here and got into real estate with my dad. And we kind of resurrected and rebuilt a family property business for a few years. And I was working about 6 days a week and I had, started investing in shares and started to build this wealth. But I still didn't like the fact that I was in an office wearing a suit every single day for 6 days a week. And I didn't like commuting. And I was like, I need to change this. And that's where I started on the side getting into network marketing through my sister. And my wife and I and her started building this little business on the side. And that scaled to multiple six figures. We scaled it in a few years, about 4 years, to multiple six figures. And that allowed me to step out of my property business. And then I was a free agent at that point. We could travel the world and do whatever we wanted, which we did. But I was not yet finished. And so what I learned was through the network marketing industry, I met a lot of people doing really well. But I also realized just because they had money and know how to make it, they didn't know how to manage it and they didn't know how to multiply it. They didn't know how to invest it. I was like, oh my God, I thought everyone just knew that. And the reality is they don't. You don't get taught that stuff. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to start. A buddy of mine said, you need to write a book. So I did that, wrote a couple of books, and then launched a podcast around financial education. And we built a financial education business out of that because of the experience I had with talking to people in network marketing who made tons of money but didn't have any left. So that's kind of how we've evolved over the years to where we are today.
That is awesome. Are you still actively involved with real estate too?
No, I actually left that. I'm still the registered licensee of the company, so I go in there once a week because it's not far away. But I'm not fully actively involved. No.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
you still have like money tied up in some real estate, I assume.
Oh, in terms of investments, I just exited a golf course deal. That's my last bit of real estate that I own. I actually rent my house here. We live on this nice apartment on the river. I rent. And a lot of my wealth is built, actually, most of it is in equities, so in shares. Yeah.
Very, very
I'm
cool.
not a,
Well,
I'm
what
not a
I
big
thought,
real estate guy. Like I'm a real estate lawyer, real estate this, real estate. I'm not a big owner of it because I just find that owning liquid assets is just better for my personality type.
I see. I also find it kind of interesting that you kind of brushed off being a lawyer. Like
Yeah,
you got your degree as a lawyer. What was it
yeah.
about law that completely turned you off?
Well, I think it was to do with the person I did some work with. I got into uh, when you do a law degree, you have to do a placement like articles to then get your admission to the Supreme Court, right? You get admitted as a lawyer. So to do that, you have to have some practical experience. And so I got practical experience in like conveyancing law, which is like transfer of title of land, and it was so boring. And I probably didn't have the right mentor at the time to really make it exciting. And I thought, man, everyone in here is just unhappy. This is boring. And I think that's what really I had a personality clash with it. Whereas if I had a really like fun civil trial lawyer experience, it would have been interesting, and I would have seen the deal making. Like it's a very interesting area, but you're always in conflict. So I was like, I don't know if I want to be in conflict for the rest of my life, and so I left really fast. Like it was like I don't this is not me. So I'm really good at figuring out this is not for me. I'm done. And
So
moving
then
on quite.
moving into real estate, what was that very
Yeah.
first deal like for you?
Yeah, it was really good question. When I left Abu Dhabi or Dubai to come back and start in real estate with my dad, I remember it was so commission only. You could only make money when you closed a deal. And we had a telemarketing team that would do like all this outbound appointment setting for us, and the clients would come into the office and we would sit with them, and I would do like a diagram and kind of pitch them for an hour and a half. And I remember I didn't know, I'd never done a pitch before. I was 28 and I was like, oh my God, like how did my dad do this so well? And I watched him and I watched him and I watched him over. I watched him maybe 20 times do it. And then I remember the day that client walked into the office and he said, okay, you're up. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you can do this. I'm like, oh, you're going to be in there with me? He goes, no, that would look ridiculous. You can go and do it. So I was like, oh my God. And I'm sweating bullets. I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to close this client now. And I remember I did a pitch and it was pretty horrible. And they said, oh, that's very informative, which is like the death knock for a salesperson when someone says, that was very informative. So they didn't buy. And I remember for 6 months, I tried and tried and tried and didn't get anywhere. And then finally got a sale. And I was like, I can do it, And then after that, I was fine. So you just have to keep trying until you get it.
Now, you went from something like in law where you're really just studying, reading papers,
Yeah.
coming up with
Yeah.
contracts and all that kind of stuff, to somebody who needs to go out there, speak,
Yeah.
engage, motivate people, inspire people. That is completely two different worlds.
Yes.
Was
Yes.
speaking something that was natural for you? Is that why all that other stuff did not fit and you found your
Maybe.
natural fit in network marketing?
Maybe I don't know if it was natural. I don't know if public speaking comes natural to anyone. It was very tricky, like selling. So calling and selling and like going into people's houses and cold and building rapport. I did that for 7 years in real estate. So that was probably a good grounding for me of how to talk to people. But when I got into network marketing, I had to get on stage. I remember we had an event at our house and there was maybe 10 people here. And I was scared just to talk to the 10 people. So I don't know if it was natural, but what I did do was realize that I had to get better at it. So I went to Toastmasters, which is a public speaking club that anyone can join locally. You can Google it and find it. So my wife and I went there for like 18 months, and that really helped me. But it doesn't matter. Like every time I went on a new stage with more people, it scared me a little bit more, a little bit more. And I just kept doing it so much that the fear left me. And now I can get on stages of 10, 7,000 people and speak without too much fear. But it's definitely not natural. I worked at it. I worked at it. But I enjoyed the personal growth that I got from doing things that scared me.
Yeah, that is very, very cool. And yeah, I have some experience in Toastmasters as well,
There
helping
you go.
out my career in real estate and
Right.
also speaking and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
totally get where you're coming from. Now, when
Yeah.
it comes to network marketing, it
Yeah.
people hear that and go, "Ooh, I don't want to get in touch with that." And then there's other people who go, "Ooh, I'm so excited." But there's only a select group of people who really excel in it, and you're one of those
Yeah.
people. Why
Yeah.
is it that it's so hard for people to overcome that hump, Or is
Mm.
it because it's been told to them in a way where it seems so easy that people
Yeah.
go, okay, yeah, I'm in, and all of a sudden, oh, it's not that easy. What are people
Yeah.
missing when it comes to network marketing?
Well, it's interesting. Like if you look at the real estate industry, as you know, not everyone makes it in real estate either. It's like how many people come into a real estate agency and don't make it. So, and I think it's the same with most things. Things that are challenging and hard, people don't always succeed at them. And so I think network marketing, like what you said, it attracts a lot of people because it's so easy to get into. There's not a high barrier to entry. So that's the first thing. So everyone can start it, which means you're going to have people who are coming in who shouldn't be doing it because they so easy, just buy anything done. But then what happens is they get told, like you said, a story of, hey, it's not even about is it easy. They just get these stories of you can make millions. And the truth is, if you get into investment banking, you can also make millions. But what they don't tell you is, by the way, you have to have an MBA and you have to do this and you have to have a CFA charter and do spreadsheets and blah, blah, blah. So you figure, so yeah, you can make money in lots of things. But what they don't tell you is the work ethic required and the time it takes to build the skills. And I think that's what gets people wrong-footed is they come in with these high expectations, but they're not prepared to put the effort in for 10 years to make it happen. And I think that was the difference. Like, I was no stranger to doing hard things. So when I saw network marketing, I saw a lot of people who didn't have that much talent, to be fair, making a lot of money. So I thought I could probably do it. But at the same time, I thought, you know what? If I've if this looks easy, I haven't done enough homework on it.
Well,
So I think it's always that notion. So yeah. Yeah. And I think also people don't like they go, oh, I've got my it gets a bad rep because the people that suck at it, they then blame it.
oh yeah, they go out there and trash talk and how it doesn't work,
Yeah,
all
because
kind of stuff.
they turn into victims. Yeah, so that doesn't help the industry either.
And I find the key to your story is the fact that most people don't put in the 10 years of effort.
That's right.
People
Yep.
think that,
Yeah.
oh, once you get in
Mhm.
weeks, I'll be able to make millions. In weeks,
Yeah.
I'll be able to create that
Yeah.
downline and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's right.
what did your life look like when you decided to jump into network marketing
Yep.
and like on a daily basis? How much time did you put into it? Did you
Yeah.
sleep? And then at what
Yeah.
point
Good question.
did you go, wow, this is sustainable and this is
Mm.
something I'm gonna do for the long run?
Good question. So I was in real estate. I was back to running the business with my dad. I was doing the sales, doing the marketing, like wearing all the hats of the business with him. So that was taking up 6 days a week. But you know what happens in real estate? You do have downtime in between client meetings. You have, not it's not like you're flat out doing computer work every day. There's downtimes. So I remember going to an event in Brisbane, which is an hour from where we live, and seeing this amazing business model of network marketing, going back into the real estate business and realizing that, oh man, this is not freeing, but knowing that I can do the network marketing part time from my phone. So I do recall using social media a lot to post a lot of things about my results from the products, people leaning in to have want more information. And when they wanted more information, I remember I'd leave the office, go downstairs, and there was this garden with a wall on it. And I would sit on this concrete wall every day and just like, yeah, what's up? This is my story. This is the products. This is how it works. Blah, 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 blah. They'd buy. I was like, send me your MasterCard details. And they'd send me the details. I'd purchase the order and I'd go back upstairs and get back to work in my real estate business. And I would go up and down all day. And depending on how many, people I had to talk to. And so that was my life for like 4 years. Uh, I would go up and down all day. Then I would go to events on the weekend. My wife and I would get in the car, pick her up from work at 6 o'clock at night. We'd come back home to our house. We'd sit in the car for an hour every day, and we would send messages and do posts on social media and connect with people. And then once a month, we would go to an event, whether it be local where we were or in a capital city. We would fly to Sydney to go for an event for a 1 day event on Saturday. We'd learn the stuff there. We'd come back, and that's how we did it. Like it was not we didn't sit around. We just that's how we did it. So I think for 4 or 5 years, that's kind of what my life looked like.
Like constantly going out to networking events, constantly going out to meet new people, making those calls. Because I know a lot of people who start off, they're taught to go, okay, deal with your warm market first, people you already know and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That only lasts for so long. And then
Yes,
all
you
of a
run
sudden
out of
that
those
dries up,
people.
right? And then they go, okay, now I have to do this, I have to do that. And it's that consistency of going out to those events and meeting new people
Yes.
that people
Yes.
tend to kind of
Making
fall
new
off.
people. Yep. Yep. And to this day, We have people that start and they don't continue. It's part of the journey of just trying to identify the ones that are really going to stick and stay and like it. So we have probably 17,000 customers globally, and we have, like we're just about to do a yacht party with our team here in Australia in 2 weeks. And so we'll probably have 30 people on that yacht. We've got 30 really good local Australian distributors, and we have international distributors in Canada and America and New Zealand. So it's a global business, but what I love about it is we still run it primarily from our phones and our computers, and we work from home here. But it's you just have to get used to the fact that not everyone's going to stay. It's a subscription based business, and like a gym, not everyone stays in their gym. If you go buy a gym, you'll be like, oh my God, where did everyone go? They're not going to stick around forever, and that's the nature of business.
Yeah. You just wait
Yeah.
for January 1st, and that's when everybody goes to party.
Yes. Everyone's very excited for January 1st, a big influx of people. And then, yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Now, right now, there's so many out there. There's so many different products, there's so many different
Yep.
companies, and they're
Yep.
all using social media. How does
Sure.
one stand out and get the leads? How does one really
Yeah.
attract those people on social media when it's already bombarded with so many
Yeah,
different
it's a good question.
options?
Well, what's interesting is that every company is on social media, not just network marketing companies. I think everyone has to understand the concept that like marketing is now social media marketing. Social media is now not social media, it's just media.
Yep.
There is no one's on TV, no one's on radio, no, everyone's promoting on social media because it's the where the attention is. My attention is here every day. So if you're not on there, you're not getting the attention. And so network marketing was just very fast to pick it up.
Mhm.
Whereas now other businesses like, oh, maybe those network marketing guys had a bit of an idea with social media. So now everyone's catching up. But how you do it is this. I'll give you two examples. On Facebook, you're allowed to have 5,000 friends. So what you do is you go and find, you go to suggested friends and you find all these people who Mark Zuckerberg is suggesting you become friends with, and they have a mutual connection. And you look at the age, what they are, where they live, and you literally add 20 people a day. Just hit the blue button. Bang, 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 bang. Done. Put your phone down. Those that reply and accept the invitation, they're open to connecting. And so you send them a simple connect message saying, hey, thanks for accepting my friend request. Mark Zuckerberg suggested we become friends. So I shot your friend request. I noticed on your page you have a sausage dog or you're running. Has a running dog. So what you're doing is just connecting. You're not selling, you're not promoting, you're just connecting. And what you want to do objectively is build that up to 5,000 brand new connections on Facebook, which means you've got to turn your Facebook into a business tool, not a tool where you post about what you have for breakfast, or your family. So you turn it into a tool where it actually allows you to attract and connect with a lot of people. And then what you do is you put out content around the particular topic or niche. So for example, if I'm talking about health products, I'm talking about my results with them and how I'm going. So you can document your journey for the next 90 days of like day two, this is where I'm going, day three, day four. And it's like a video diary.
Mhm.
And over time, all those connections are going to lean in and like an emoji your posts. And once they do that, you send them a simple referral ask message that says, hey, thanks for loving on my post. I know it may not be for you, but just curious, do you know anyone who wants to get in shape this year? And they'll say, me. Oh, really? Tell me a bit about what you're wanting to achieve. Oh, I want this and this and this. Cool. If I could show you a way where you can do that, would that help you? Yes? And you're on. So that whole process of building an online network is about connecting first, putting out interesting content. When people engage, actually going to them and start chatting with them about your thing. That's how you do online network marketing.
Yeah.
That's
And,
how you do it. That's
yeah.
in a nutshell how it's done.
Totally agree. And the key is that connecting point, right? Building that
Totally. Yeah.
rapport and building that relationship. Like time and time
Yep.
again, I get people sending me messages and saying, "Hey, thank you for signing up to my event, and I can't wait to see you." I'm like, I did not sign up to any event.
Ah,
I don't
oh
even know who
shoot.
you are, and they
Ah,
jump to the sale. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I
oh
just
no. But I mean, I think look at your podcast, right? This is a great way to connect with people. Like you and I are connecting. We realized that we were at the same events, in Vegas and Nashville, and it's like you're connecting, and I'll connect with people. And you're this podcasting is a wonderful way to connect with new people and build rapport. But social media, you can do it too. Like, I mean, as you know, you've got to put yourself out there to be seen and know people. My dad says you can't sell a secret, which includes your personal brand and what you want to talk about.
exactly. Now, when it comes to network marketing, you alluded to it before that the people who don't succeed in it generally go out there and badmouth it. They trash talk and all that kind of stuff, which then causes all these limiting beliefs or these myths about
Yeah.
network marketing. You have the stage
Yes.
now, debunk all those myths, tell people what's not true, and
Yeah.
tell us the truth.
Okay, cool. All right. So the truth is that you can make a great amount of money. But you have to really sharpen your marketing skills, your selling skills, and your leadership skills. Because to scale a network marketing business, you require a team of distributors, which means you have to have the ability to organize a small team to help train and coach and mentor them, which takes time. And you're not going to be an overnight success. Some people do get an overnight success. Like I know people, Fong, who like they were making like 400 grand a month, and they did that in a couple of years. Like it's crazy. So that without a doubt it can scale very quickly, but usually only brand like more newer companies and there's first mover advantage, blue ocean. Like there are times where you can luck like that, but I haven't been one of those people. Um, and so taking that mindset into it is important. But there's a few things that have to happen. Without a doubt, there's some companies that are really bad. So like, yes, it gets a bad rep too because the companies are greedy, their compensation plan sucks, their product sucks, and their team training and field and culture sucks. So if that all sucks, yes, the industry sucks. But not all companies are bad, not all, so there's a handful of really great companies with really great comp plans. So the five things you need to succeed in network marketing is one, you have to have the right company. That means it has to be around for more than 10 years and it has to have a great culture and field training objective. And that's important. The second thing is you have to have a great product because nothing worse than trying to help someone start something that doesn't work. And there's a lot of companies out there that the products don't even work. So what attracted me to our company was the fact that products work, right? And I know that you know about the products too, and you know that they work. So that is important, and it has to be transformational and unique. So you have to see a trend, and it has to be consumable. So they're the product requirements because consumable means they're going to reorder every month, which gives you recurring income, which is subscription based, which gives you freedom. The third thing is that they have to have a really good compensation plan. And how you know that it's a good comp plan is not all the people at the top make all the money. It's anyone can come in and make money. That's when you know it's a good comp plan. And I straight away for us, I was like, oh, I actually made some money this week. That's amazing. I didn't expect to make any because it's network marketing. Like I had some people in other companies we won't mention names of the companies, but they were working on it, didn't make any money. So comp plan matters. And the fourth thing is the team in which you join does matter. So within a company, there's a team or a leader or someone like that that's, you know, going to be a good mentor for you. That's important. And the fifth thing is that particular team needs a system to follow to actually bring people in and convert them to customers. And it has to be predictable and simple to do because it has to duplicate. So they're the five things that need to be in place for you to have success. And then all beyond that, you got to have the mindset. You
Very,
have
very
to be
true.
someone who understands that it's going to take time and effort. And what I love about it is that I already was in real estate. So like it didn't matter if I was going to suck at it or it failed because I already had a job. I already had a business, had a job. I didn't need it, but I liked it because I could actually monetize my phone time, build a second income stream that was recurring, and it allowed me to level up and grow because it forced me to become a better communicator. It forced me to learn marketing. It forced me to meet new people. It forced me to be a better person. It allowed me and my wife to do something together. It allowed us to invest more in our share portfolio. They're all great things. Like I didn't find one downside. I was like, this all looks to me like it's all upside. This is an asymmetric return. This is what I want to look for. So made sense.
That is awesome. And what I like most about that answer there was at the very beginning, you stated that you also need to know how to manage people. You also have to know how to go out and meet people and talk and all that other stuff that most
Yeah.
people don't really focus on. They think they
Yeah.
once they join the company, it would just come. But they don't
Yeah.
spend time on their speaking. They don't spend time on learning how to do numbers and
Yep.
understanding the process and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
which is very, very important. Now,
Yes.
moving forward, you then reach to a point where, hey, you know what? I'm going to teach people how to build legacy and understand how financial literacy works and all that kind of stuff, which then led to your books and your podcasts and your courses and whatnot. Tell us about that transition because that like you're comfortable in this space already. Why create another whole new thing
Yeah.
to deal with?
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, when you build a network marketing business, we had that, plus we had a share portfolio producing passive income. So we had this nice setup where in network marketing, you don't have to be full time at it. Like that's, I had all this time. I was like, oh, got all this time. And I was training with a friend of mine on the beach one day running, and he said, Lloyd, you've got this, well, he's a really dear friend. He said, Lloyd, you've got so many great abilities. Why is it you have one network marketing business? Like, why? Why don't you go and build another business? And I was like, oh, because, I like having a lot of my time. I don't really want to be busier and I don't want to focus on too many things and blah, 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 blah. He said, well, when did you decide that having another business was going to make you busier? He said, Tony Robbins has 70. I was like, oh, maybe I should get another one. But then what I realized was this. During the network marketing build, I was talking to people who were making tons of money and they just didn't know how to manage it or multiply it, which to me was like, what? People don't understand this stuff? That's interesting. So the same friend of mine that told me to build another business said, you know what? You're going to write a book and I'm going to give you 2 weeks to do it. And he really held me accountable. He's such a wonderful mentor and friend. And the first book was Money Grows on Trees. So I wrote this book, and his son came into partnership with me for us to launch it and scale it. So we started a little business together in COVID, like 2020, called Money Grows on Trees. It was like a little financial education business book course, and off we went. And the objective was just to make a little bit of extra money on the side, but also just bring something out that taking my knowledge to the world was fun. And and I already had a network, so I was like, oh well, hopefully they buy it and it works, and it worked out. Then he said, we need to write another book. We did that, Money Buys Happiness. We've really scaled that. We sell 1,000 books a month. And he said, now you need to create a mentorship program for people that have read the book and want to implement the stuff. And I was like, okay. So we created a mentorship program, which is 6 months. I've got two, 6 months and 12 months. And I teach people financial literacy in that. And that's it's a whole separate business. So I run that business plus a network marketing business. I have an events business in partnership called Mind and Money with another business partner. And we just bought our first laundromat. So we're buying a series of laundromats with another business partner. So there's 4 businesses in my portfolio. So that's what I'm doing now with all of my spare time.
And do you
Uh-huh.
still have spare time?
Yeah, yeah. Like I got heaps of time. I'm gonna go to the gym today. Well, yeah, I've still got time because like my latest book called Become Time Rich, it's published by Wiley. It launches on the 29th of May on Amazon. And in bookstores, incidentally, in Canada, it'll be in chapters, it'll be in bookstores. Um, And that's all about becoming time rich. So, like, yes, there's an element of what you should do to build a business, but most people's businesses consume them, like destroy them because business is not easy, right? Like, or a career destroys them. Whereas what one needs to learn if they want to have both wealth and time is that busyness is not wealthiness. And so in the book, I talk about these laws that I've applied to all of my businesses and in my life through leverage, priority, and eliminating things that don't matter. How to cultivate a time-rich life that allows you to have both
Oh,
money and time.
awesome. Very, very important stuff.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
could you share with us a little bit about the reason why people are not able to manage it properly? Like when they have
time,
money,
money,
they're
or
thinking, you know
money.
what, I just need to do more. If I do more, I'll have more of it, and then it will kind of sort itself out. So what was the main cause that you're seeing that most people go, it doesn't work, or that you need to teach them or show them the proper way of managing it so that it
Yeah,
can last for a long period of time?
yeah. Well, there's probably 3 things that pop up. The first one is they don't manage it, and by that I mean they don't know where it's going. So, and getting even deeper, they haven't looked at their bank statement. Like they actually just don't know. It's the head in the sand mentality. So, the very first thing I teach is, hey, let's do an audit of your bank statement every month for the next 6 months. And it's amazing what happens when people do that for the first time because it's the first time they've ever done it. We get them to calculate their net worth, their assets, their liabilities, their income, and their expenses on one sheet. And that by itself is a big task, like because people haven't done it. So they say, I don't know where my money's going. I'm like, well, it's going where you're sending it because it doesn't get grow legs and walk there itself. You are sending it somewhere. So let's find out where you're sending it, why you're sending it there, and how to change the direction of it, right? So we teach them how to date their money every month. Because if you don't date your money, it's very much the same as what happens if you don't date your spouse. If you don't see your spouse for a month, or
Mm.
2 months or 10 years, you will not have a spouse anymore. So money needs a relationship too. So go on a date with it every month and do the audit and go through it and understand where it's going. That's the first thing. The second thing is if they do that well, there's going to be a little bit of money left over called free cash flow, where you can actually deploy it to pay down debt, invest in yourself, whatever it is. You have free cash flow. So the next stage is to teach people how to invest. And it's not that difficult. Real estate is very difficult for a lot of people to get into early because you need a deposit and costs, and people don't have a spare 150,000 laying around now. So I think shares has become more prevalent and popular because you can start with $100 or less. So the first stages are teaching people the fundamentals of investing, and you can invest in wonderful things now called index funds that is like a basket of stocks that just you get the market return. So you can participate in the growth of the economy and all the wonderful companies, Apple, Amazon, Google. So you can buy these index funds, and it's very simple to do. It doesn't need any management. It's very low cost and it's very effective because it outperforms 90% of the professional money managers in the world.
Right.
So learning how to do that from your phone is very effective, and you can start putting your spare cash into those straight away from an app on your phone. And back when I started 15 years ago, you had to give the bank your blood sample, your favorite color, this, that, to get a brokerage account. Now it's like it's available, right? So it's become more popular. So that's the next step is to scale your money or start growing it so it works harder than you do because it doesn't have any sick days. It doesn't, stop and sleep. And then the third step is once you've set that up, how to manage it well and how to grow it, you get like, oh, now I know how to do this. Then your mindset goes to, oh, now I have to go make more.
Mm.
So and then you go, why do I make more? Well, if I'm in real estate and I'm working 6 days a week, what else could I do? And I was like, okay, now I can do network marketing, or I can do, whatever side hustle. My wife's got a really cool side hustle. She looks after dogs, and she gets paid thousands, thousands. So whatever it is you want to do to make extra money, you want to make it because all of a sudden you have a way to manage it and you have a way to grow it. And it's like if you discovered the seeds of a money tree, knew how to plant it, but you wanted to get more seeds, you would be motivated
Right.
to find the seeds. And that's about how to make extra money on the side. So they're the three things that are important when it comes to becoming good with money.
No, once you're good with money, as you are an example of, then you start building, creating, having more and more opportunities and different businesses and all that kind of stuff. Yet you still say you have spare time, which means you
Yeah,
have spare energy. So how
yeah,
does one like yourself manage that energy, manage that time
yeah.
so that every day you still have some left over for yourself?
Yeah, that's such a great question. You're right, managing energy. My friend, I used to do a lot of boxing, and the same friend that told me to write a book, he taught me how to box, and I did a couple of boxing fights. And in the boxing ring, you must manage your energy. Like, I know it's about getting hit, but the truth of boxing is the real pain is from the cardio. Like, you're in the boxing ring and your energy just will get drained. You almost can't even lift. Like, it's brutal. So you have to manage your energy. And so I learned how to manage it in there. I'm like, well, how am I managing my energy in the day-to-day boxing ring of life? And how I do that on a personal level is this. That's my dog barking in the background. Um, how I do it is this. The first thing I do is I actually wake up when I'm finished sleeping. So I actually don't get up at 5 a.m. with the guy. I don't. I can, but I don't. I try and just get up. I get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock each day, but I tend to just finish sleeping around then. So like I'll be up and okay, that's good. So I get a full night. I try and get a full night's sleep. Um, and then I start the day with some caffeine, a little bit, right? Just a little bit. And I have one of these things. You've probably seen these before. These little you ever make caffeine shots. Anyway, so I have one of them, and then I'll work. So that's important. So I don't have a morning routine. I get up and I work. I look at my diary, I look at my to-do list, and I go to work. Whatever I'm doing that day, I get into it. At about 10 o'clock, I have my first smoothie or I have breakfast, and then I'll go work some more, have lunch, and then I'll go to the gym in the afternoon about 2 or 3 o'clock. And I always work out during the day because I have more energy during the day than the night time. And I'll work out. It gets my blood flowing, come back home, do a bit more work, and I finish, have dinner, and then I actually relax. So I try and I try and like have a rhythm to my days. Not every day goes the same for sure, but I try and have some rhythm in what I'm trying to do. But most importantly, I work in the mornings because that's when I have most energy. right? And so I also theme my day. So if I'm doing a coaching day, all of it will be done on one day. If I'm doing a podcast day, all of it's done on the same day. So I'm trying to theme my days if I can. But when you're on the come up and you don't have that flexibility that I have, if you're working 9 to 5, you'd want to make sure that you're eating correctly, not drinking a lot of alcohol, you're exercising daily, and don't have to exercise a lot and beat yourself up. You don't want to thrash yourself in the gym. That's a big misconception. You want to eat well, move your body, and not drink alcohol, but also limit your coffees. Because if you have more than 2 coffees, it's going to hurt your energy. Like even more than one will actually hurt it. You want to avoid it after 11:30 a.m. And I have this really cool app on my phone called Rise, which is actually tracks my sleep debt. And so you can start tracking your sleep debt with this app called Rise. And if you're in sleep debt, you also will not have a lot of energy. So it's about hacking your energy from nutrition, from sleep, from exercise, and from theming your days and making sure you're productive as well as you can be throughout the day. So that's how I manage my energy over time.
That's awesome. Now, when
Yeah.
you look back in retrospect, what has been the greatest learning moment for you? Greatest failure, greatest learning lesson? What would that be? And share with us that storyline.
Oh, the greatest learning lesson. I think what I've learned from watching my dad in business and then watching friends is that they get to about 80 or 90% correct and then they execute. So I think one of the things I've learned is be okay with executing without perfection. And what I learned was there's a study done about high performance, and there's this misconception that high performance is precision and perfection and all these things. And what it's the opposite of that. High performance is executing with violence even when you're not ready. So like I think it was General George Patton that
Yeah,
said, an imperfect plan executed today with violence is better than a perfect plan executed tomorrow. So I
exactly.
think that's probably one of the greatest learnings because you're never going to be ready to launch the book. You're never going to be ready to launch the podcast, as you know. You're never going to be ready to go into a new career. You're never going to be ready. You just have to go forward. Like we started this podcast, I jumped on, and there was a podcast previously that was running that I had to download. I'm like, hey, Fong, I can't even do this right now. So we have to come. So I wasn't even perfectly ready for this, but I'm doing it. So just go forward and do imperfectly, and you will learn as you go. And not everything's going to work out, and I think you just got to be happy with that. That's the way life is, and that's probably a great learning.
Totally true. So, right now, what's your next big thing? What are you looking for? What's the perfect contact or opportunity for you right now?
That's a really good question. You got great questions on this show. Well done. Look, our big thing we're doing next is launching our newest book, and we're doing a big virtual launch for that on the 1st of June. It comes out on the 29th of May, but we're doing a big virtual launch. I want to get like thousands and thousands of people onto it, which is going to be just because it's just such an adventure and so much fun. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Yeah, so if people are following me at the time, they might see some ads pop up for our big launch, and people can check it out for free, and it's really cool. But I'm looking forward to that mainly.
Awesome. No, I do want to touch on your book titles because those are the book titles that everybody would love to say all the time and prove people wrong and goes, yes, money does grow on trees, and yes, it can buy happiness and all that kind of stuff. So, explain very quickly why you picked those titles and why does it grow on trees?
Yeah, so the first title, like it grows on trees because I remember after I read the classics like Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, I understood the notion that you have to buy assets. You have to deploy your money, buy things that grow in value. That makes a lot of sense. But I didn't know the practical side of doing like how do I actually do this now? And so when I learned how to open a brokerage account and buy shares, the very first share that I bought, I invested about $2,000 and I bought bank shares with an Australian bank called Westpac Bank. And I remember I was like, okay, I've invested the money. And in those days, the stocks that pay a dividend, so this bank particular pays a dividend twice a year. And I remember I got a dividend and I had to go downstairs, open the letterbox up and pull out this beautiful envelope and it said Westpac Bank dividend check. And I opened it up, there's a big check in there and it said $90. I was like, yeah, I just made $90 with it. I didn't do anything. And that's when I realized that money grows on trees if you know the right type of seed to plant and be patient. It'll pay. that I was like, money does grow on trees. Crazy people, of course. You just need to know how to plant one. So that was the first book. The second one is a lot of people say to me that money doesn't buy happiness, but I grew up with my dad. He's about the opposite of that. He's like, yeah, money can buy you. He jokes around. He says, money makes you handsome. He had all these other funny quips that he brought it into my life, and he never had any shame or guilt around making money. And I think I inherited that from him, or I saw it, I modeled it. So I like to create that hook of the book, Money Buys Happiness, because it annoys people like you wouldn't believe, because it challenges the notion they believe in.
Exactly.
And I think it'll attract people to changing their mindset on their story they tell themselves when it comes to money. So
Exactly.
that's why the titles are effective.
And I think a lot of people, if you really think about it, yeah, it may not buy happiness, but it sure makes a great down payment. And it sure
Yeah.
solves a lot of problems that
Well,
you're
how many people
probably
get
thinking
joy
of right
from
now.
behind their first house? Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
well, thank you very much for that. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, pick up your books and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, best way for people to get in touch with me, go to my Instagram, Lloyd James Ross. I'm on Facebook too. But if you go to my link tree, all my resources are there. My latest book, Money Buys Happiness, is moneybuyshappinessbook.com. But also, if you go to Amazon now and type in Become Time Rich, you'll see my newest book that's coming out, which is going to be huge, I think. I hope. So yeah, go check it out, and yeah, go read them and enjoy them and implement them and get value. That's what I want.
Cool stuff. Now, before I let you go, I got five quick rapid fire questions for you. Give me the first thing that
Fun.
comes to mind.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready.
Stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. So it could be the worst thing in the world, but you're still gonna be in shape and healthy. What's that one food?
Ice cream.
Hollywood calls and goes, "Hey, Lloyd, we love your story. Very inspirational, very motivating. We would love to do a biopic of you. Who would you pick to cast as you?"
Um, all right, what a cool question. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds shows up at your door and goes, "Hey, buddy, I got casted to play you. Let's have some fun. Let's hang out." And you say, "No worries. I got the entire night planned out. Let's go." So what does that night look like?
Oh man, what does that look like? Um, Hanging out watching Netflix.
Awesome.
Oh, Ryan
It'll
Reynolds.
probably
I
be
don't
his
know.
movies then,
We'll
eh?
probably go on a pub crawl together and get drunk, and then I don't know. Yeah, that's fun.
Before I ask the next question, are you fans of like comic books and superheroes and stuff?
Yeah, I know all the superheroes. I'm up to scratch.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you get to pick five fictional comic book characters to be on your network marketing team, who would they be?
Oh,
Now, obviously, it can't be Batman or Iron Man. They're already millionaires. So you're
damn! I
looking
couldn't
at the
choose
ones that
both of
don't
them.
have jobs.
Oh man. Uh, who would I want to be on my team? Okay, I would probably want Wolverine. I would probably want the Incredible Hulk. Uh, no one would say no to him. I would probably want I mean, really got to say Superman. He can do anything. One, two, three. I definitely have them. Probably Spider-Man for that extent, and then I'd probably have Magneto because he just flip people into his way of thinking instantly. Yeah,
Awesome. All right. Sounds like an amazing power team right there.
yeah,
Now,
that's a powerful thing.
last question. Give me a number from one to four.
Three.
One, two, three. So the word is deodorant. All right.
Okay.
So if you had to use deodorant as a metaphor for success, how is success like deodorant?
Well, what you have to do with your personal brand is you have to be attractive. And so when you stink, because you're not attractive, because you're not investing in yourself, your health, how you show up in the world, how you dress, how you present yourself, you aren't going to be attractive to people. And people don't want to do deals with people who aren't attractive. And so just like deodorant is sprayed on under your arms to cover the smell or actually create a better smell that attracts people to you, so you have to spray deodorant on your social media content. You have to spray deodorant on your language, how you show up, your clothes, everything you want to have is a nice coat of really nice smelling deodorant on everything you do because that is your brand and your brand is everything when it comes to attracting deals and building relationships to make money.
That's how success is like deodorant. I can just see it now. You're gonna be holding this one new brand of deodorant. It's like success.
Success. Best a man can get. Yeah, that's right.
Well, awesome. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for your tips, your wisdom, your stories. Much appreciated. Time has gone by very, very fast. Any
It
final words
has.
from you?
No, I just want to say thanks so much for having me on, Fong. Like you're a great host. I really enjoyed it. Great questions, and I appreciate you. And I really hope we cross paths next time at an event together, and we now know each other. So I would say well done on everyone who's listened to this. Well done to you on the podcast. I love what you're doing, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. And so until next time, he's Lloyd. I'm Fong. Today is the day to unlock your peak potential. Well, I'll see you later.